the 100th straight front, over-angulated, unbalanced dog, you give him straight shoulders, over there. You know, you get, because I'm a breeder. This is what I grew up doing. And I bred seven breeds. So this overall shape and picture means so much to me, and I'm looking for breeding stock. So I'm the guy, people say, oh, he's not standing still. That's not hereditary. What do you think? I give a darn, you're recording? A darn? I don't care. Give me a couple good steps where I can see. I did have maybe a half a dozen. Down and back to me is sort of important, but it's about side game. But I had a half a dozen down and backs that I thought, ooh, that's a concern. Be careful what you're doing there. I had some crossover fronts, some long. By the way, for terminology, if you learn one thing today, this is a wrist and an ankle. They're joints. A hock is a joint. That part, the top of the rear pastern, that's a hock. It's a joint. It's like a knuckle. So if someone says short hocks, that's like saying you have short ankles. That's not possible. That rear bone from hock to the ground is a pastern, a rear pastern. I saw real nice length, well let down hocks, meaning close to the ground. I didn't see too many that were too long the rear pastern. I did see some, and they're going away and coming, it can get pretty ugly. They're kind of wobbly like a bad shepherd. Not a good shepherd person. But so be mindful of that. So many came and went so cleanly though. Shoulder blades. Shoulder blades you think of as a flat one-dimensional bone. They should be oblique at the top. So they curve over to wrap around that rib cage. And that's important to me. I'll tell you why fronts are so important. Oh, by the way, feet under withers. It's so important about balance. If you don't have enough forechest, and I'm not saying set or forechest, I'm saying set under. So if you're looking at a picture of an outline, you come down the neck, here's the withers. Underneath that's where the feet should stop naturally. If the feet are here, there's something going on in that upper arm or shoulder blade that's wrong. It should be, it's in your standard. It says withers under the elbows. That was a big deal for me today. I looked for that a lot. Yeah, elbows.
We knew what you meant.
You know what I mean. Withers, elbows, feet in the straight line. Does that make more sense? Yeah. So, if you took a cigarette lighter, they still make those? And tie a string and hold it over the withers, the cigarette lighter and the foot should be in the same spot. All right? Straight line.
Foot or toes?
Well, you're lucky if you can get it. Toes, but foot. Foot's plenty. Foot's good. Actually, foot.
Yeah, there were a lot of us that too far forward.
Yeah.
And some of that was just setting, not.
Yes. And that's, I know it's setting and I try to help you, but if you're going to show me dogs standing out there like this, there's not much I can do. I can go back over the front 15 times, but not all the fronts are perfect. I had a dog with a perfectly good upper arm today that was hacking on its front. I'll never be able to figure out how that happened. But I will tell you the basic premise of why that may have happened. You see these things we have here? Y'all got them, every one of them. Collarbones. They attach our rib cage to our body. We have a bridge there. Dogs don't have collarbones. You know what holds their front on? Tendon and muscle. That's it. So shoulder wrap, the curve at the top, the length of that upper arm, all that is so important. That's the center of gravity. That hits the ground. And if that's not right, you're going to break down sooner, and it's not going to be as good for the function dog and speed and turn. Strength of the loin is judged two ways for me. When you go, I rub my hand right there in that top line. I want to feel every vertebrae where it stops, where it rises, as you probably noticed. And then I showed a lot of you. Sometimes I felt bad that I was going, I don't know if you're listening with your eyes, but I'm going, this is really steep back here. I was running my hands over because it was frustrating because the rest of the dog was so beautiful. You don't want to fault judge, but it's something you should be aware of, okay? All right, I don't want to overdo that. But in general, the make and shape of these dogs gave me goosebumps. The quality. There are some dogs you probably think I didn't like today. On another day, 12th or 14th, if it was today, could have been first. There are some really good dogs in here that I couldn't use only because of a moment. You're separating the best of the best here today. And if I have a moment where they're looking like an A-frame, or they're standing with their front out in front of them, or they move with their head on the ground, which destroys their entire top line, and I'm looking to see top, I want to see the shape that I see standing remain the same when they're moving. That's my goal. And I had a bunch of real nice ones that did that. And they're the ones that got the highest ribbons, right? But again, it's also who you're against. I've got a friend who set the record in AKC history. He has more best in shows than any other dog in that breed in the history of best in shows in that breed. I couldn't even give him a best of variety out of 6. He found the right places to go. And he went to small shows, he knew where the competition was coming, he avoided them, so he was the best of the best that day. So it's not about how good your dog is, it's about how he looks in that minute, on that day, compared to what I'm seeing. And again, I have 2 minutes maybe for each dog, right? So the thing that's gonna hit me first is basic making shape. Flowing lines, no interruptions, no exaggeration. That's the first thing I'm gonna see. Side gate. If that shape holds together on the side gate, and I know some of them are running out of gas. Some of them were shown so poorly it was driving me crazy. I went, let me do that. But it's okay. You know, if I can see it and I get 2 steps, I can put the 2 together. If I see bad movement, good stay, or bad stay, great movement, I'm gonna have to re-examine that. But if they hold their shape, go, they're gonna get higher top. Ears, interesting. Tiny and thin. Yeah, that's a deal. And in sighthounds, it's a big deal. A couple big ones and a couple thick ones. Not too many. Just be mindful of that. The little tiny thin ears I love those. Coming from wolfhounds, I'll tell you why I love those. I had Irish wolfhounds too. A wolfhound that has a rounded ear and a big ear, and I've had some, that's an indication of too much hound cross. That's a recreated breed, the Irish Wolfhound. It was extinct, and it was remade in the late 1800s with a few dogs in hand. They crossed other stuff. So you want to eliminate those root breeds that set them apart. I don't want to see houndy ears, scent houndy ears, rounded ears on a wolfhound. I want to see enough erectile power, but they have rose ears like these babies do. And I get completely, because I had sighthounds, wolfhounds, that when there's an alert or a breeze, that they can go straight up. That's perfectly fine. If it's a small enough, thin enough ear, and I see it in a rose shape for a moment. And I had no problem doing that with every dog today. But there were some ears that could be smaller. I don't know, do you want to pick for that right now? I don't know. I'd be concerned more about shape, overall shape. But boy, did I see, I don't know how many we had today, but I'd say half of them had a shape that took my breath away. And then you're picking nits from there, right? So no matter how, if you didn't get a ribbon today, don't think I didn't love your dog. It's because you get down to the finer points at the last minute. And that's the way it goes. I had real hard calls today in several classes. I had real easy calls in some classes too. Cool part, stud dog and brood bitch, they produced themselves. That was so cool. I had a brace, a brindle brace, I believe, right? Whoever what that was. There was a moment that together I saw one shape. And it was so cool. And it was the right shape too. It was a correct top line. It wasn't too exaggerated, it wasn't flat. You do not want flat. Certainly wasn't sag. We didn't see any of that. That's a good thing. You all had some strength there. It's about where it went, right? But that picture together gave me goosebumps. I had the pleasure of judging the Bryn Mawr Hound Show. It's a fox hunt event. This is actually a funny story. I'm the only one that's ever been invited since 1898 to judge the Bryn Mawr Hound Show that wasn't a mash of the hounds, it didn't ride a pack. So it's a real stuffy event. It's the opposite of this. They're not my peeps. But you have to wear a certain hat to judge a certain breed. So I had my particular hat I was judging Penn Merediths. Perfect hat for that. They tell me I look stupid, but it was all happy. The only thing about those people is they gave me gin and tonics at 2 o'clock while I was judging, so don't throw them out completely. But anyway, at the end, they said, you have to judge the packs now. And I'm like, oh, sure, I do that all the time. So I had my best of breed winners, and everything was cool. I go up to the top of this beautiful, you can imagine, the Radnor Hunt Club. And I'm standing up on this hill, and I see the packs assembled in the center field. And I said to my steward, now what do I do? And he said, you call them up, and they tip their hat to you. All right? So I call up the Marinelle pens from, wherever, Bethlehem. They come up and they stand there. And they tip their hats. I'm like, cool. He goes, if you don't tip their hat, they're not going anywhere. Oh, okay. Tip their hat. Because that matters when it comes to breeding, right? Anyway, you send them out around the big rock. They have whippers in. There's no handlers. There's one master of the hounds, one whipper in, and 10 hounds. And I had a pack. It came around a bend together. I saw one dog. That shape defined that breed. I saw that today in a couple parks. Where sometimes I move 2 or 3 together. It's because I was kind of seeing that shape thing going on. I don't always move 2 together just for the heck of it. I want to see 2 that I'm considering, and I want to see their differences and their similarities. So the 2s and 3s weren't random. I had a lot of fun seeing hounds. One thing I cannot stress enough: you guys have these temperaments down. There's not another breed that you can judge that every one of them, yeah, they're puppies and they're happy and they're racy and they're looking around. They're so sweet and so kind and so intelligent. I know it's not in the standard. When I look
Those
at
dogs
those
over there, they're owned by 10 different people.
Exactly, it's unbelievable, right? When I first went to my first Silken Fest and saw y'all put your X-Pens together through 30 of them out there, I thought, you're crazy. No, not a problem. Your temperaments are superb. Don't ever lose that. Temperaments over everything else. Over shape, over everything. Temperaments first, because this is so special. You don't want to ruin it. Keep that there. Some of them I mentioned, when I look into their eyes, I see ancient sighthounds. I see carvings in caves. I see beautiful art. That turns me on. There's certain things in the standard you can't spell out. The essence of a breed is one of those things. I saw the essence of the breed in almost every exhibit today in one form or another. And a lot of it was right here. You can see their intelligence. You can also see their clown, right? There's clown in these beautiful, intelligent hounds. But when they saw a lure go by or a little dog go by, they just got so when they're lining them up for the race yesterday. People tell me they don't like to do that. Wrong. That's fun. They love that, right? That's what they're bred to do. Keep this temperament together. Keep this beautiful shape together. Don't worry about the faults. Focus on the assets. You have so many assets to celebrate. No more gay tails. We don't want those anymore. Those are almost gone. Keep that gone. I mention groups too often, but it's a serious thing. Top lines, moderation is a good thing. Exaggeration gets you in funny places. Heads, some broadbacks go, but not too many. I want cadence and rhythm between that back spool length and the muzzle length too, right? You want to keep that. You don't want to start getting short and wide. Ears, I mentioned. Feet roll pretty good. Feet roll real good. And you would hope so, right, for a desert hound? But they're not like an Afghan with a big round foot at all, right? You have a different shaped foot. Keep that there. It's cool. Color and markings, I don't see them. They're all gray to me. They're all solid gray in my head. Sometimes if you ask me, what do you think about that whatever mark dog? I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Because coming from breeds that have markings, I had a dog today with a spot in a certain part of its top line. And I knew where that top line was. I knew where every vertebrae was. And I said, when I watch this dog move, it's going to throw my eye for a second, but that patch is going to shift its top line. You have to get that out of your head when you judge them. The other thing about this breed is it attracts the coolest people in the world. And I will get weird. This group keeps together. You have some good artistic eyes. You have a serious commitment to the intelligence and temperament, which is very cool. And you all know about beauty. That's a cool thing. Don't get cutthroat. Don't go there. Keep it fun. I can tell you, some people would say, well, in this registry it's different. That's true per breed. Per breed. The terrier people are terriers. They fight before they get in the ring and they fight on the way out. Then they go have a beer together. That's fine. The Irish setter people, all they want to do is have a good time. That's all they want to do. And when I do their national, I go for the dinner and the banquet because it goes on for 3 days. And they play the drums evidently. So keep your own little cool culture going. Don't lose that. It's part of this breed's soul. I love being here. Thank you so much. I had a great time. And keep your dog's temperament as strong as you can. And one thing you can do to do that is expose them to every performance event you can do, whether they're good at it or not. I don't care if they're the slowest dog in the world. That gives them instinct, it gives them socialization, temperament, and time to live dog. So, thank you so much. I really appreciate being here.